Hi everybody, this is Algebra 1, Lesson 16, and this goes over more complicated evaluations. Alright, so I'm just going to do some examples here. 16.1, so we've got negative a, then we've got a bracket, and then we have another negative a times p minus a. And then it tells us that p is negative 2 and a is negative 4. Okay, so there's two different ways to do this. There's the way that the book tells you to do it, and then there's my way. I'm going to do it the way the book tells you to do it first. So I'm going to copy all this down using parentheses to hold the values of my variables. So negative 4, go there. And then instead of a bracket, I have to make this bigger, so I'm going to make it be the bigger size of the bracket. And then I'm going to put my negative, and then where the a is, I'm going to do negative 4. And then I've got this bracket instead of this parentheses, and where the p is, I'm going to do negative 2. And then where the a is, I'm going to do negative 4. Okay, so I'm going to go inside my brackets here, the innermost parentheses first. These two cancel each other, so I'm going to have 4 minus 2, which would be 2. And then I have to multiply that. Let's carry all this down so we don't get confused. And then when I get to here, I'm just going to put 2. Okay. Now I have to do inside of here, which will be 4 times 2, and these two cancel each other, so that's going to be 8. So negative 4. Alright, and then these two cancel each other, and 8 times 4 is 32. If you find all this notation really confusing, you can try to do it my way. So I'm going to show you my way. And I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm just only replacing 1 or 2 variables at a time. Alright, so actually I'm not going to rewrite that yet. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my problem and think to myself, where am I going to multiply? I'm going to multiply there because that's touching, and I'm going to be multiplying there because that's touching. The first thing I need to do is the innermost parentheses right there. So that is p minus a. And to figure out what p minus a is, I'm going to put my value of p, which is negative 2, minus my value of a, which is negative 4. Then I can cancel these two, and I can see that I have 4 minus 2, which would be 2. Okay, so my whole value for inside that parentheses is 2. So I'm going to copy all this down, negative a times 2. Okay, now I see that the next thing I need to do is this multiplication right here. So negative a times 2. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to copy it down here. I'm going to do negative a, which is negative 4, times 2. Okay, so I just did negative, there's my negative, a, which is negative 4, times 2. These two are going to cancel each other, and then I'll have 4 times 2 is 8. So everything inside this bracket right here is going to be 8. So negative a times 8. All right, negative a times 8. So I'm going to do my negative. Then a is negative 4, and then I have to multiply that times 8. It's not negative 8, it's positive 8. These two cancel. 8 times 4 is 32. This way, I feel like looks less confusing because you're only replacing one thing at a time. That way, you're not having all these brackets and bigger size brackets and everything inside of each other. All right, I'm going to do another one. This is 16.2, and this one says ax, and then we got a bracket, negative a times a minus x, and then we close up those brackets. A equals negative 2, and x equals negative 6. Alright, so I'm going to look at this and figure out where I'm going to multiply. I'm going to be multiplying here, and here, and here. That's where I need to add. So I'm going to do that addition inside that innermost parentheses first. So the innermost parentheses is a minus x. Well, a is negative 2, so I've got a minus x. Minus, now x is negative 6. See, I just took the values and I plugged them in there. So this underlined part, that's what I'm doing. These cancel, and so now I really have 6 minus 2, which will be 4. So everything inside those parentheses is going to equal 4. So I'm going to copy it down. And then my parentheses, everything inside there equals 4. Okay? See, a minus x is 4. Alright, the next thing I need to do is going to be multiply right here. So I've got negative a times 4. So I'm going to do that next. Negative a, which is negative 2, times 4. Okay, see, I've got negative, there's my negative, a, which is negative 2, times 4. These are going to cancel, and I'll get 2 times 4 is 8. So everything inside this bracket right here, what I've underlined in green, is going to equal 8. So now I have ax times 8. Okay. Now I need to multiply here and here. So I can just put all these values into parentheses now. So a is negative 2, x is negative 6, and then I have 8. Okay, so a was negative 2, x was negative 6, and I have 8. 2 times 6 will be 12. These are going to cancel each other, so negative times negative makes a positive. I've got positive 12 times 8, which is going to equal 96. So that one's 96. Alright, we'll do another one. This is 16.3. This one has negative b, and then a bracket, and then another negative b, and then a parentheses, b minus c, close parentheses, minus c minus b, another parentheses, and then a bracket. And it tells us that b equals negative 4, and c equals negative 6. Okay, so on this one I'm going to figure out where my multiplication is going to be. Here, that's going to multiply times whatever the value of everything inside this bracket is. Here, that's going to multiply this times the value inside of there. And that's it. There's 2 multiplications. The first things I need to do are that and that. I need to figure out what's inside those 2 sets of parentheses. So the first one is b minus c. Well, b is negative 4 minus c, which is negative 6. Okay, these 2 cancel each other. So now I have 6 minus 4, so that's going to equal 2. So this one right here will be 2. Now, then I have c minus b. c is negative 6 minus b, which is negative 4. These 2 negatives cancel, and I have negative 6 and positive 4, which is going to be negative 2. So this one is negative 2. Now I'm going to copy all this down. So I've got negative b in my bracket minus b, then my parentheses, and in this one, b minus c, it was 2, and then minus, and then in this one, it was negative 2. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to need to do, we always have to do multiplication before we do addition and subtraction, so I have to multiply here. Okay, multiply there first before I add or subtract over here. Alright, so that is going to be negative b times 2. Alright, so negative b, which is negative 4, times 2. Okay, these cancel, and I have 4 times 2 is 8. So the value of this underlined right here is going to be 8. So I have b 8 minus negative 2. Okay, see how that was replaced with 8. Now minus negative 2, we can cancel those, and that would be plus 2. 8 plus 2 is going to be 10. So now I have negative b, and then that would be 10 inside of there. So that means negative b times 10. So if I wrote that down, I would need negative b times 10. Negative b is going to be negative 4, because b is negative 4, times 10. These 2 negatives cancel. 4 times 10 is 40. And the answer to that one is 40. I think doing it one variable at a time makes it a lot easier. You get confused less often, and you can really see how, when you have your double negatives, how they cancel. Alright, go ahead and do the practice problems, and then I'll come back and show you how to do them. so these are practice problems for set 16. A is negative A, bracket, another negative A, parentheses, P minus A, and then close our bracket. A is equal to 2, and P is equal to negative 4. Alright, so first thing I need to do is look at my multiplication. It's going to be there and there. The first thing I'm going to do is P minus A. Okay, so P is negative 4. Let me go up here. P minus A. P is negative 4 minus A, which is 2. Negative 4 minus 2 would be negative 6. Alright, so everything inside those parentheses right there, the innermost parentheses, are going to be negative 6. I'm going to copy all this down. Negative A times negative 6. And then close my parentheses. So now the next thing I'm going to need to do is negative A times negative 6. Alright, so negative A times negative 6. Negative A would be negative 2 times negative 6. 6 times 2 is 12, and negative times a negative makes a positive, so it's positive 12. So everything inside the brackets is positive 12. Now, so that means I have negative A times 12. Negative A would be negative 2 times 12. So negative A times 12 is negative 2 times 12, which would be negative 24. So that's the answer to A. It's negative 24. Okay, now we'll try B. B is P, A, and then we got a bracket, negative P times negative A, and then we got our bracket. P equals negative 2, A equals negative 4. Alright, so I'm going to be multiplying here and here and here. The first thing I'm going to need to do is this multiplication in the very inside of that bracket. So that would be negative P times negative A. Okay, negative P is negative 2, so negative, now P, which is negative 2, times negative A, which is, hold on, we're going to do that, let's see, times negative A, which is negative 4. Whew, that's a lot of, that means that needs to be a bracket. There we go. Okay, so now we can get rid of this complicated notation. All those guys cancel each other, all those negatives. So now we just have 2 times 4 is 8. So inside of this innermost part right here is going to be 8. So we've got P, A, and we can just turn that back into parentheses, times 8. Alright, so now that's, all three of these are multiplication, so I'm just going to copy this down. P would be negative 2, A would be negative 4, and then we've got 8. 2 times 4 would be 8. These both are negative, so they cancel, so that's positive 8. 8 times 8 is 64. So that one's positive 64. That one's a little more complicated. Alright, let's try C. C has negative x, and then we've got a bracket, and we got another negative x, then we got parentheses, x minus a minus x, and then close our bracket. And it tells us that x is negative 2 and a is negative 5. Okay, on this one, I'm going to be multiplying here and here, and the rest of that is addition and subtraction. These two parentheses need to be done first, so I've got to figure those out first. So I've got x minus a. That's the first one I'm going to do. X is negative 2 minus a, which is negative 5. Okay, these two are going to cancel, and I'm going to get 5 minus 2, which is 3. So that'll be a positive 3 for this one. The next one is a minus x, which would be a is negative 5 minus x, which is negative 2. These are going to cancel, and then I'll have negative 5 plus 2. I owed $5. I paid back 2 of it. I'm still going to owe 3. So that's negative 3. Okay, now I'm going to copy all this down. So I've got negative x, then I've got my bracket, I have another negative x. Then inside that parentheses, I have 3. Then I got my minus sign. That parentheses, I have negative 3. Okay. Next thing I'm going to need to do is multiply before I can subtract right there. So I've got to multiply this negative x times 3. Okay? So I've got negative x times 3. Alright, negative, and then my value for x is negative 2 times 3. These two cancel, so I just have 2 times 3 is 6. So all that's underlined equals 6. So I've got negative x, and then all that underlined stuff is 6 minus negative 3. Negative times a negative makes a positive, so those cancel. So now I just have 6 plus 3, which would be 9. So I've still got negative x out here. So now I have negative x times 9. Negative x is negative 2, so I'm going to say negative x times 9. We're going to replace that, so negative, and then our x is negative 2, and multiply that times 9. And these two cancel, so it's going to be positive. 9 times 2 is 18, so our answer is 18 on that one. Alright, if you have any problems or questions, just message me. If you haven't turned in your homework from this week yet, just bring it to class on Wednesday, it's fine. And then your homework is going to be lesson 16, and that'll be due on Wednesday when you come to class. Alright, bye guys.